Welcome to Future Forward, a podcast where we share AI insights, one expert at a time. I'll be talking to experts from various backgrounds, ranging from academia to startups, scale-ups, and corporates. Welcome. Hi there, I'm here with Francis Martens. He's the co-founder and CEO of Exalate. I'll let him introduce himself. Hi there, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. I'm very glad you wanted to come. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself first? Who are you? What have you done?
That's quite a story, so I will try to be brief. But I started as a developer after doing some university studies at the KU Leuven. And at the time, it was still that we were working on big mainframes and programming with Ponskaarten.
For me, that sounds almost
really long
time.
time ago. So, but in that environment, I did learn the art, I would say, of creating programs, and I'm calling it an art because myself, I'm a dreamer. I'm someone who likes to dream up something and make it reality, right? And programming makes that possible. And you can come up with an idea, do some stuff, and you have something that works, right? Initially, I was studying as a movie director, but it was too difficult, really, to say I got a dream and I got a movie, right? So when the
why was that too difficult?
Because you got a whole process, to find people who are doing the scenario, and then with the camera, what have you. Yeah? And at the time, a camera, there was like a Super 8. And okay, so you get the picture. While with the computer, you could actually implement something that you had come up in the morning and see it working in the evening, right? And that did pull my interest. So I followed the development studies, like computerwetenschappen at the KU Leuven. And then I started to work as a consultant because I'm also like someone who likes to do my thing. And so authority is not my best thing. So I started to work as a consultant in various startup companies. I also started a couple of companies like a Guideline and Freelance Network, which are still companies that exist, that are still doing what we started then. And I joined in 96 Riverland Next Generation, where we, at the time, we were selling internet, where companies didn't know what internet was. Yeah. And so the way that we sold internet at that time was with slide deck printed out and then showing like this way how it works, because laptops didn't exist then. Yeah, so
I'm trying to imagine. I can imagine my father having a Windows 3.1. That's the furthest I can go. But a time without laptops. So you were selling internet.
We were selling internet solutions, also as a consultancy organization. And after that, I joined Filepool, which is a startup, a product company that was then acquired by EMC, and that's currently Dell, right? And there I did learn about startups and scale-ups and how that works. And
what was the business of that company?
Filepool was building a storage solution for long-term storage, object storage, and that was really of interest for EMC, which before they were acquired is one of the biggest storage solution on the market at the time. Right.
And what was your role in those companies so far?
In Filepool, I was responsible for operations, and then EMC acquired Filepool, and then I moved there for 5 years as engineering manager. And it was an interesting time because EMC is a hardware producer and we had to produce software. And at the time, the concept of XP programming came up, and Agile, the Agile Manifesto and what have you. And so we had this bunch of developers doing Agile development, of trying to do Agile development in a hardware context. And
that seems like that's very hard to manage to marry those two things.
That was really hard to marry But after 5 years, I had seen it, and I moved to a new startup which was called QLayer, where I took up the engineering management function, and there we had that was a totally startup. It was exit to Sun Microsystems.
And what did that company do?
That company was building the concept of virtual data centers. Yeah, like software-defined data centers, which is now a 20 billion market.
You were always quite early on the stage.
Always too early. Yeah, so timing is key whenever you do a startup. And after that, we started Idalco. Idalco, a professional services company focused on the Atlassian tool stack, Jira, Confluence. And that consultancy business did grow to 200 customers in Belgium and France, with 24 consultants, acquired by Avisi in the beginning of this year. Yeah.
So Idalco, that you built that and that got acquired, or I didn't.
So Idalco was started in 2011, and the professional services business, was acquired, but not the complete company.
Okay.
So in the context of Idalco, we did build Exalate again. One of our customers had this need to connect two Jiras, to his Jira to the Jira of his customer, and we won the project, and we provided that functionality. Yeah. And a fun fact: this customer is now our product manager, right? So, at the time, we did see an opportunity of creating an integration product for the Atlassian market, right?
Okay.
And that product is now the leading solution, integration solution on the Atlassian market. But during it became really clear that Jira to Jira was an interesting use case, but also Jira to ServiceNow, and Jira to Salesforce, and Jira to many other platforms. So Exalate was born. And Exalate is a wordplay on escalate. Yeah. So if someone is creating an issue or a task on his system and wants to have someone working on another system work on it, yeah, he can escalate it towards this other system. Yeah. And so Exalate is a solution to build a bridge between different task management systems, right? So in that context,
and when did Exalate then start in that journey? Was that's before the beginning of this year?
That was in 2015.
So it started. So you started Idalco, and in between suddenly Exalate started.
So Idalco started in 2011, okay. And in the context of this services company, we created the product Exalate.
And it was already separate at that point? Or?
No, it was in one company.
So
itself.
At that beginning...
and actually the company Idalco was renamed to Exalate beginning of this year. Okay. So it's the same entity.
Yeah. But so the services branch that you have sold to another company. Okay. Nice.
And now we do have a team of 90 people that are going full steam ahead on a vision that we have of creating a worldwide network of connected companies. So what we see is that it's a bit like with the internet. So there's a proliferation. Exalate is a networking product. So what we see, if company A is connecting with company B will see that it solves a business problem, that it works because it's using it with company A, and that the price is doable, right? And so they are promoting Exalate with company C, D, and E.
So Exalate's main focus is then being a platform in between companies, not within a company, but in between companies.
Our focus is indeed in cross-company integrations, but the product is also being used for internal integrations itself.
Yeah. Okay. So how in that journey have you encountered AI in that journey before? Now you're working on it strongly, but we'll come back to that later.
Not before November 2022. Yeah. Before, AI was more like a abstract concept. The concept of neural nets and machine learning, you do read something about in blogs, but once that you've seen the power of ChatGPT, at that moment we said, something big is coming up.
What went through your mind, and how did that relate to Exalate?
First, unbelief. So saying how many people are sitting behind there to answer the questions. No.
So the first idea was this is not true.
This is not true. This can't be true, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, then you see how it works and so on. So what does it mean in the terms of integration? It is something that somebody said on LinkedIn. The integration that we're doing up to today, that's over, right? So the integration market will change 100%. Yeah. So the integration market is really a large market. It's about 500 billion year on year, and currently, if you look at integrations, it's a pain in the ass. Right, doing an integration.
One of the biggest problems we know in IT.
Yeah, so whenever you do an integration, like between two systems, you have to take into account the system themselves that you're going to integrate, the way that these systems are being used, the data models, yeah, and then you need to create a connection between the two, right? You need to
align those.
You need to align these processes, this information. You need to do transformations in some way. You need also to create a IT connection, like a network with firewalls, with security, with authentication.
Definitely if it's cross-company. Yeah.
Exactly. Because if you do an internal integration, you have a complete control about what is being integrated. You have the budget under control. Yeah, and so on. And even internal integrations are difficult things to do. But if you do it cross-company, you have to take into account the two different worlds, right? And that's a big problem with integrations. You have a mountain of knowledge that you need to go through before you have an integration that works, right? And
so, and how does Exalate solve that then? So you have those two separate worlds today with all of those challenges, the data models, the security. How do you solve that?
So today Exalate is an integration product with a particular approach in how integration is being done. So we call it distributed integration. So whenever you do a system architecture, you do know that loosely coupled systems are more easily to maintain than systems which are tightly coupled, right? What does it mean? Is that loosely coupled systems can easily be changed to new situations, while with tightly coupled systems, you are blocked because that tight integration is stopping you evolving each system.
And loosely coupled, simply said, APIs.
Using APIs, but also tightly coupled systems are also using APIs. So APIs is not necessarily the answer for that, for implementing the loosely coupling. What you do, what Exalate does, is distributing the responsibility for exchanging the information to the two endpoints. Okay. Yeah, so where every endpoint is responsible for translating the local information to a common information, right? Back and forth.
So in between it's common. It's not like that in between you do the mapping, but in between it's a common language.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so so to come back to your question about AI, so and that's something we do see in our market with our customers. Even with a solution like Exalate, they still need to know everything about these systems, about networking, about security, about authentication, before they can get that integration implemented. Exalate makes it more easy, more convenient to have it implemented, but still, without the knowledge, you get into troubles, right? And we do assist our customers to do that integration itself, but it's still a learning curve that they have to go through. And when you think about learning curves and AI, you do see a solution, right? So our vision there was okay. Whenever you do an integration between two environments, you need to do some mapping, some transformation between the information from your source system to the information on your destination system. And that transformation currently is being done by a low-code solution in Exalate. Other solutions are using visual approaches.
So basically you have one side and then you have the other, and there is some configuration code in between to map those two.
To map those two, indeed. Yeah. And we were thinking, why wouldn't we, instead of having our users enter some code, yeah, why don't they prompt for that integration? The real dream is that we end up with a very simple UI, just one button, press integrate, and that's it, right?
And the code is written behind.
And everything is written automatically. And if you look at Copilot and all these initiatives that exist to generate working code, we said, okay, we need to find, maybe we do have a path to lower the learning curve for our users by including AI in our solution. Yeah, and that's where we see AI can be a help.
So the idea was born then to do the mapping autonomously, basically. And now that's the vision. So the vision is in the end, if I understand it well, you go to the Exalate platform, you say I have this tool, and the other says I have this tool, and then you push a magic button and it's written. And you can check it if you want, but in the end it's written automatically. Right. Something that large language models excel at today, which is writing code. But it's still a journey, I imagine. I imagine it's not one click and it works.
No, so it was clear that we needed to have help. And we found this team, Radix. Thank you for being there. Who are helping us out to solve one of the biggest problems of AI, and that's hallucinations. Yeah, and I'm sure that the audience here know about hallucinations. But if I have to explain my grandmother what hallucination is,
she thinks of LSD.
She thinks about LSD, not necessarily. Yeah, no. So the way that we explain is assume that you have an AI agent. Managing traffic lights in a city. Yeah, hallucination would be that all the traffic lights would go to green because the AI wants to satisfy everyone in the city. But that's chaos, right? And if you have like an AI-based solution for your writing the mapping and transformations for your integration, you don't want to hallucinate, right? You don't want that your agent is going to deduct money from your account instead of adding money to your account, right? So, and there's a need for guardrails. There's a need to ensure that the accuracy of that model is good enough to be applied into an integration scenario. Yeah. And that's why we reached out to Radix to help out with that research, because it's not a given. Yeah. So how do you know that whatever this AI is going to generate will be good enough? And how do you measure that effectiveness? Yeah, that's one question. But of course, you still need to do the mechanics to translate the prompt into the into the right configuration of your integration. And that shifts the problem. So today we are asking our users to implement a configuration using scripting language, or some drag and drop interface. But if you replace it with prompting, your prompts need to be of good quality to be able to generate the right thing. So it's shifting the knowledge problem a bit. It's lowering the knowledge because you can have a natural language type of interface, but you still need to say the right words, right?
So now you're. So to me that sounds like a step in the direction of the magic button. Now you have the prompt engineering in between. Mm-hmm. That's a phase, but the eventual goal is to have that magic button. Is that the case?
Well, that's indeed the goal. So currently Exalate is limited to task management systems like ServiceNow, Jira, Salesforce, Zendesk, GitHub, and so on. But there are like thousands of systems in the world. Many companies are using legacy systems that have been built 20 years ago, or that's still working on COBOL, where it's really difficult to find the right people. And we believe that what we called the next-gen middleware will be able to integrate any type of system in a way that matches the requirements of the business. Mm-hmm. But getting there is indeed, we call it the magic button, but in the end, what you want, I have this system, I have that system, they need to talk to each other, do your thing, do your job, right?
So basically what you're saying is that the AI part, the large language models will take over understanding the code of the other system, how it's written, and then transforming that's eventually what you want to
from one to another. And that's exactly what we think is the biggest problem today, is understanding the semantics of APIs, right?
Could you elaborate a bit on that?
So it could be that you say add name, that you have an API that adds an address or a customer to some interface, mm-hmm. but it could not necessarily be the customer that you have in mind, right? Mm-hmm. It could be like more like the API could be add address, mm-hmm. but it's meant for a supplier and not for a customer, yeah. Right? So understanding the semantics of an API is important also for an API for an AI-based system. Right. And
how do we do that as a person today? Understanding that?
You read the documentation, you do experiments, you look at the effect whenever you do this type of update. Yeah.
But what you're saying then is that it's a double problem. It's one, the AI needs to improve, but also the fact that documentation is not good enough today, or that's something that we as people have challenges with as well.
Yeah, of course.
And do you see AI bridging that gap, or will it be a necessity for better API documentation?
In the end, I think that automated systems will be able to bridge that gap.
By experimenting themselves or autonomously?
By experimenting itself. And I think it's a big problem. If you really want to get to that magic button, mm-hmm. It's a big problem, but we are all engineers, right? We are all, whenever there's a big problem, we divide it in two and we solve the two problems then, mm-hmm. which are smaller. And then we keep on dividing until we can solve, right? And if you look at the vision of this magic button, you have one is the translation or the understanding of the APIs exposed by a system. And secondly is the transformation between multiple environments. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you integrate a ServiceNow with a legacy system, if you want to integrate both, you would need to have an agent which understands ServiceNow, an agent which understands the legacy, and then a mapping between the two. Yeah. And we do believe that Exalate is in a pole position to make this happen, because the distributed integration is a key component of our architecture. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if you don't have the distribution, you can't. It makes it easy for you to divide it in multiple problems. That's what you're actually saying. So, because if you don't have that, it's one problem, and you can't have one solution fixing it.
No.
So it means for you, it's just actually a translation of what you already have into multiple agents working together.
Yes.
Okay. So your vision on that is that there will be then Exalate will actually be an army of agents that understand different systems and bridge those gaps. That's how you see it?
That's how we think that it will evolve, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, in our product, this is how we will evolve it. We are now working on the first part being the transformation, connecting these systems with the connectors, with the agents that we have already. And then after that, we will focus on the agents themselves. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So, but that means that the API world or the API economy, if that gets ready, will be thrown on its head or turned around.
I think it will be really disruptive. Right.
If you would know how many ITers today are just busy writing and connecting APIs, that's a huge impact on how that market will work.
Yeah, well, that's normal with disruption, right? AI is already disruptive in many cases. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So doing disruptive things always bring good things and not so good things, right? That's normal. But well, if you we are focusing on the good things that are bringing.
I mean, in that sense, like it's a huge opportunity. I think the backlog of APIs that need to be connected and of IT that can't fix that and it doesn't work because documentation isn't good. It will be a huge shift in a good direction of having communication between IT systems, which is crucial.
Yeah, exactly. So you name it. So there's a lot of things that are not being done today because there's not the capability or the resourcing to make it happen, right? And AI is, in our view, is going to help us there also, as long as we have these guardrails in place, right?
And how do you see? So this year you've started with experimenting and with building the first actual use cases. How do you see this journey moving forward in the next months or years?
That's always a good question. There's always what you wish for and what's actual going to happen. There is an intended roadmap where we first start with the transformation aspect, which we are implementing into Exalate today. Then there's the intention to create additional connectors in an automated way for all the different task management systems and getting to know how this will work. And then we will expand into other types of systems like CRM, ERP. You have many different acronyms, right?
So your goal is to become the de facto number one for integration between software.
The goal is to become the benchmark implementation for cross-company integrations, right? It's a niche, but it's an important niche, and probably if the solution is good enough, it will also be used for internal integrations also. Yeah.
That's a very ambitious plan. You're now in the first phase of that plan. I can imagine as a company and as an owner that is, I'm just thinking of the road ahead. How do you deal with that? How are you going? So not on the technical side, but as a company CEO and owner, how do you deal with that? Is it you have a vision, you go for it?
We have a vision, we go for it, but we do it through experimentation, right? So you can't say, okay, I have a vision in the morning, I have it implemented in the evening. Luckily, we have a great team behind us, 90 people that are all passionate people all behind that vision itself, right? But we do know that we have to take baby steps to get where we want to be. So especially in this field of AI, which is totally new, it's really exciting. We do see a lot of potential there, but I'm sure that we can make a lot of mistakes. And so we do believe in fail fast, but you can also make mistakes which has an impact on the longer term, right? And so we are not going to do like experiments just for the sake of it. We have to think a lot about what the right thing is, right?
So yeah, maybe a critical question. How do you feel about the idea that GPT-4 or GPT-X, whatever large language model that will come out, will be able to do what you're building out of the box and potentially just disrupt in your business?
In some way, I'm persuaded that this will happen, right? You cannot predict what's going to happen in 20 years. Even at the start of 2022, we had no idea that ChatGPT would come up with all these capabilities. So that's one answer, right? But the road to such an effective integration solution is long. There's a lot of hurdles to be taken. And we want to be at the forefront of that path. We want to actually make that happen and be part of that disruptive revolution. Now, many of these hurdles are rooted in the fact that doing an integration in an effective way requires a lot of knowledge, and this knowledge is mainly, and in many cases, in the head of people. Mm-hmm. And as long as that knowledge has not been uncovered, an AI will not be able to learn, right? Maybe it can deduce some of the conclusions that people also are doing, but accuracy is the main challenge in doing auto-generated integrations, and getting there will require a lot of work, right? To uncover this knowledge, to train the models so that it takes the right conclusion, to put in place the right test frameworks, because one prompt, the same prompt sometimes generates a completely different answer.
So what you're saying is that you are well, or even to say better positioned to uncover that, and it's maybe even a long tail where OpenAI or any other company is quite far from, and you're a lot closer to it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, everything needs focus, right? And you need people that are really getting to a certain target, and we are focusing on integrations. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Can you imagine that you, if you need to work with another company and you need to exchange information in a structured way, that you can do that in the morning, you sign the contract, and in the afternoon you can start working together in an effective way. That's absolutely something that people are looking for. Yeah, I can. But we're actually, what I was thinking is we're slowly getting there in many different ways. Like, where are the days that you have to bring in your invoices to your accountant? Now you just send it and it goes to one or other tool in whatever format, and it gets extracted and structured, and it gets in a database. Yeah. So that's one of the things I love. I can just send my invoices to one email and I don't have to look at it anymore. But basically what you're doing is doing that at scale for task management today, yeah, but then broader, hopefully, in the future. Yes. That's... I still going to come back to once more and push that button a bit more.
because what I do feel is that, because if you look at it in a different way, what large language models are already doing is, so for instance, you have people are writing bullet points, asking ChatGPT to write it into an email, and then people are again asking for a summary. So it's going from some kind of structure to a longer email to some kind of structure. In essence, it's already doing that a little bit, but it's in a different way. It's not in a way that it's being used in Exalate. It's in a way that, so you would ask ChatGPT, read this, turn this into bullet points or into another format, and then the other one asks it again, turn that in my format.
So you say the ChatGPT is already doing this type of transformation.
It's doing it, and I like to understand better. Okay, why is it not so? Because you're quite relaxed with it, you don't look really scared. What gives you that confidence? It's purely because of the fact of the knowledge being in people's heads, or because that's for you also a challenge, getting it out of their heads?
It's that also, by the way. But accuracy is a key answer there, right? Even if I use ChatGPT, maybe my prompt engineering skills are not that evolved yet, but getting to a right answer is really getting to an answer that you can send out without modification.
What you're saying
really
is that
hard.
You're taking that large language model and you're actually bringing it to the next level. You are upgrading the capability. That's what you are doing.
That's indeed the research that we're doing with you guys, right? But I think that, and it's clear that this will take some time before we get it right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for the simple use case of the task management integration. Yeah. So that's one. But even today, if I use ChatGPT, I will never send the output as is to my contact. Mm-hmm. I will go see, there's a couple of ideas which I want to elaborate on. Mm-hmm. So I will work with ChatGPT as a tool to really ensure that the information that I want to send to my contact is reflecting what I'm thinking.
Because it's not good enough today.
It's not good enough indeed. Yeah. And that hallucination is part of the thing. Also the fact that the answers are A, B, C, depending. I was using it this morning, and just by modifying the prompt, I got the answer that I was expecting. Mm. But probably it will be possible in a couple of years, or like 10 to 20 years. Also with auto-generated techniques, that the testing and the generation is training each other. Why not? Yeah, but you need people who are making it happen.
Yeah. All right. So stepping a bit away from your journey right now at Exalate, how have you experienced AI outside of it right now in your personal life, and how do you see this moving forward in the broader scope of this world? What are your thoughts there?
So I'm thinking, so we did a party, and I had to give a speech, right? And then I first used ChatGPT, but then people were saying, Francis, is totally artificial. Yeah.
During the speech?
No. Before I was in preparation phase, and so I did write it myself. So it is still a tool that we use to do stuff like writing speeches or thinking about menus. So the typical question is, what are we going to cook this evening? Then you get some suggestions, but in the end, you do the cooking yourself. Mm-hmm. So the point I want to make is AI is still something not in my daily life, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's important, I think, for our profession to be used, but personally, it will still take time before it will have an influence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it all depends on the audience, right? In the sense that we're not people that are totally into technology and using all like Apple Watches and everything. We also like normal social life with a board game and interaction and all these things. So I think that the influence of AI on our personal life will be limited. Yeah.
In the future as well? How do you see that moving forward?
I think that AI will have a lot of impact on how things in the economy will have an impact there, making things more efficient, creating more possibilities for doing new stuff, right? But I think, and that's, I'm speaking for myself, for my personal life, I really like more going out with friends, having fun, doing board games, or doing sports, and that's not something that AI will influence.
Yeah, definitely. But like, do you have a robot vacuum? Do you have
No.
do you expect to buy it?
No, we don't.
No? You like vacuuming yourself?
No. But yeah, so you never know. Maybe there comes like a personal assistant that's doing all this stuff that we say, okay, let's we do have a washing machine.
Yeah.
And luckily it's not AI based.
If you do your laundry by hand still, that would be very old school.
Although I had a discussion with my partner, saying, yeah, it's a good moment to talk about stuff, but no. But yeah, so the impact on personal life, apart from economy, I don't know. I don't see it.
And where do you see then in the broader economy? So you see efficiency. That means, for instance, the Exalate, but also what other big things do you see happening? Or would like to see happening?
So there's so much going wrong, right? I really hope that AI will help to come up with solutions which are out of the box, which can solve some of the problems, right?
What are the most important ones to you?
Like climate change is a big one.
You expect it to have some solutions there?
Well, I expect that people who are busy with that problem will use AI to come up with approaches which are novice, right?
Yeah.
And that's an example. But I don't know, what do you see, right?
I see plenty of things. I think and personal and economy-wise, I think it's very hard for me not to see every part of our daily life and our professional and personal being influenced by AI. Knowing it or not knowing it, it doesn't have to be explicitly. For instance, you have a smartphone. The amount of AI that is getting into smartphones to, for instance, improve your photos, or to have blurred backgrounds. Say that you have the depth like with a real photo camera. It's all AI. These things are going to be everywhere. Like the previous guest, we were talking about healthcare. If you think about preventive healthcare or individual precision medicine, all of these things that's things that become really possible. Private tutoring. These are things that it's technologically possible today. We don't have the adoption yet, not the governance and the regulatory frameworks to do all of these things, but the technology makes it possible. So I don't see a lot of limits.
Yeah, right. No, okay, I do agree. Yeah.
Okay. You've done a few startups right now. Mm-hmm. Is Exalate your last one?
You never know.
What do you have a plan there? Do you want to build this as until you retire? Do you have what's your vision on that?
So currently we do enjoy our journey, right? It's so much fun, and it's forward looking. The team is great. There's a lot of passion. All over the place. Everyone is contributing to what we want to achieve. And well, so as I said in the beginning, is creating this worldwide network of connected companies that work in a structured manner is really the ultimate goal. And to get there, we want to, because this is a networking product, we want to get to a network inflection point where Exalate becomes the benchmark for cross-company integrations. And
what does that mean practically?
Practically, that whenever a new company wants to do a cross-company integration with another company, that other company is already using Exalate. So they say, well, we will use it also. So it reinforces.
So you really want to create a network effect, and
getting to the network effect.
Now you're building that flywheel, and you're getting
exactly.
that flywheel to spin.
Once that flywheel starts to spin at first comer market, then we can say, okay, let's have a party. Yeah.
Can I join?
The whole world might be able to join. So, and that's the current focus. What's going to happen after that, we never know.
Yeah. Okay, but that's good. If you get that flywheel running, then at least you've started changing the world.
Yeah, well, a small part, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how to. I've done some project management for IT projects before, and integration between tools was, in my opinion, one of the biggest challenges and things that people don't really. It needs to be done. Mm-hmm. It's crucial. It's vital. Mm. But I don't think people get really excited about. Yes, we can integrate another tool. No, they just want it to work. It needs to work. And so I think in that sense, if you can relieve the world from that issue, that would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Integration is not exciting, and our marketing team has this challenge to make it more sexy. So they're doing a pretty good job. But indeed, it's
as a closing question, I try to stay around the same topic. As a closing question, I always have the same one.
Okay.
Seeing AI move forward, you have people talking about the extinction of the human race because of AI. On the other hand, you have people saying AI is just merely a more advanced calculator. Mm-hmm. What's your dystopian and utopian future when we see AI moving forward?
That's an interesting question. Dystopian would be the moment that people just accept what the AI is generating. So that people just believe what comes out of it. And so you have this bias, AI bias, right? Because what AI, the language model generates is totally based on how it has been trained.
So the bias in the world is part of
and bias will be enforced a lot. And if people start to believe without being skeptical, that would be really a bad thing to happen.
So one of the things we should do there is people should really keep on being critical in their thinking. Critical thinking will be a crucial asset.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for mentioning it. Yeah. Utopian is of course that indeed like you can have better pictures. I would need a big AI model for my picture taking talents, but no. But dystopian is being critical thinking, but that's for everything. Eh? Mm-hmm. You don't need to be an AI to bring fake news, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Francis. It was very interesting.
All right. Thank you very much, Davio, for having me. It was I did learn something also.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you want to hear more, don't hesitate to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform for the next episodes of Future Forward, where we'll be unraveling the AI future, one expert at a time.